It's Press Corps people. I'm David Cruz. There's a $60 billion state budget, and all people are talking about is a soccer tournament. Who am I to judge? So it's World Cup, state budgets, and Mikie Sherrill for president. All on Press Corps right after this.
Hey, we're taking a break from the show to remind you that when you like, subscribe, and share this content, you're helping us build an audience for independent journalism. Thanks for streaming. Let's get back to the program.
Three soccer-crazed panelists on the show today. Matt Friedman is a reporter for Politico and editor of the New Jersey Playbook. Brent Johnson covers the State House for NJ Advanced Media and is editor of the Mikie's World newsletter. And Charles Stile is the political columnist for NorthJersey.com. Gents, hello, thank you, welcome.
Good morning.
So stories about private lives of public people are always tricky, particularly if illness is involved. Lots of conversation about Congressman Tom Kean Jr. missing votes for some time now. His office said a personal medical issue, I think, and it's raising questions. Matt, what do we know? What should we know? And does election season make any difference to the answer?
What do we know? Very little. We know that he hasn't voted since early March. And we know that a lot of his colleagues haven't heard from him. And we know that he's dealing with some sort of health issue. We don't know anything beyond that. We don't know how serious. We don't know if it's physical or mental. We don't know any of that. So I think that's the big problem here, because when you don't know and his colleagues aren't hearing from him, it fuels speculation. And I don't want to drive speculation. We'd just like to get an idea of, is he fit to continue in the office? And I hope he's getting, the medical treatment he needs. Nobody can fault him for that, but we could use some more knowledge of what's going on here.
Brent, I mean, people elect the guy, want to know, I guess, if he is capable of continuing in office and fulfilling his duties. But aside from that, I guess it's none of our business, but except, is he able to handle the duties? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing. You elect these people to represent you in either the legislature or the Congress or some sort of office, and that they're there to be your voice. And if they're not actually there, that's the question. But you give the benefit of the doubt over someone's health, and that you don't try and let your mind wander too much, and you're told he's going to be okay, and that's the hope. And but yeah, it's a very tricky issue, because you don't want to pry too much, but you also it's a public official who's elected to represent the people, so it makes it a very difficult line to walk.
Charlie,
I just want to. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Matt.
I just want to push back against the idea that I saw on our local right-wing blog here, that somehow the New Jersey press is being more aggressive with Tom Kean than with others, and we've seen several others in the last few years. And I think, if anything, until now, we've really let it go, and we're only getting now because it's been almost 2 months and we've heard so little. I would say we should have been more aggressive earlier. I'll give Joey Fox at New Jersey Globe credit for seeing this, and noticing it first and bringing attention to it early on. But it's like, at some point you have to say, hey, it's been a little while. And I mean, he's up for re-election in a little over 6 months. How do you, if you can't come in for votes, it's just,
can you do your job is that fundamental question. I was going to say to you, Charlie, that this is a Republican Party who, you remember with Sheila Oliver, they complained about the lack of transparency about what her illness was.
Right.
The politics of this gets complicated when people start to mess with privacy issues.
Yeah, it's a very delicate balance. I think Brent and Matt kind of alluded to this, but at the end of the day, though, this is what you signed up for. You signed up for a public service, and not just, town council here. This is a highly visible, highly important uh, responsibility as a member of Congress. And let's not forget, this is, in context here, this is a battleground. This has been one of the most fiercely fought pieces of political real estate in New Jersey in years, and it's going to be again.
Yeah.
So all that adds to the pressure. I think at some point, I understand Tom Kean, his modus operandi on most things is to stay silent, and it's understandable to a degree, obviously with any kind of health issue, but at some point he's got to come forward and explain to the public.
Yeah. Let me stick with you here, Charlie. You wrote about Analilia Mejia this week, the winner in CD 11, sworn in. By the way, I got to say, the gallery chanting "Si se puede," that was pretty dramatic stuff, even to a cynic like me.
The House will be in order.
Chaz, what can we expect from Analilia Mejia?
Oh, I think I'm not. I think she'll definitely be pushing from the left on a lot of issues like healthcare, particularly. And will she enlist as a member of the squad formally? I don't even know if that's possible, but I think there's a lot of belief that she will. Although some people who've worked with her in the past, when she was with the Bernie Sanders campaign, and they were negotiating an endorsement with the Biden campaign, found her to be a very pragmatic negotiator and working out a kind of an accord with the Biden campaign and the party's establishment. So I'm not entirely convinced she's going to be an AOC bomb thrower.
Yeah.
And also watching her, I mean, she has to be mindful of the district she comes from.
Yeah. Matt, is it clear sailing for her, or does she still potentially face some primary opposition and then the powerhouse that is Joe Hathaway again in the fall?
I think we have to see what her margin is in November. But she's clear to November. I don't think she faces any real opposition in the June primary, just kind of nominal. But I think her margin in November will do a lot towards either encouraging or dissuading Democrats, because they will find a good fundraising source if they want to run against her in 2028. So I think that's what she needs to worry. I think general election, this district is beyond cooked, at least through 2028. I think it's remarkable. She won by 20 points despite running far to the left of where Mikie Sherrill was. She overperformed Sherrill's 2024 performance by about 5 points, which, like you would expect based on some of the other swings in the country, for it to be more dramatic. But take into account the fact that Sherrill is a very, very strong performer on her own. Also take into the fact that Mejia did alienate a few points worth of Jewish voters in the district. And you really see this isn't evidence that the wave isn't built. No, this is evidence of a very strong blue wave. For a candidate this far left to win a district, to win a blue but not, deep blue district by 20 points shows you just how much trouble the Republicans are in for in November, unless things turn around dramatically in the next 6 months. And it's hard to see that happening.
There's not enough decriminalization of marijuana that he can do to make that happen. Brent, they're trying to suggest some, as Charlie just said, saying that she's going to join the so-called squad. What a silly name that is. But Mejia has really done the work, though, leading up to this.
She comes from a organizing background, so that's known for doing work.
Yeah, that was my point.
She got a lucky. It's part luck, part skill, right? Like she had the skill to position herself perfectly in that primary, and when AIPAC came along with their 18-dimensional chess and decided to take Tom Malinowski out. Now, let's be clear, Tom Malinowski would have won that primary, right? Like, it's very obvious he would have. But still, it took her work to get her in that position that she benefited from that.
I talked to voters and from friends of mine that live in the South Orange, Maplewood area, and they said she was bombarding them. Not their people were at their doorstep like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
And it was intense, and they knew her. They were aware of this. She was branded in their consciousness by the time the election came along.
And we all saw her. She's relentless as an organizer. And back with Working Families Alliance, if you covered her in the legislature, you saw how she was effective. Yeah.
Meanwhile, Brent, switching here a little bit, the governor had some budget portal announcement. I mean, this administration has created the most portals in New Jersey history, I think. So was this a whatchamacallit, a thingamajig or a doodad?
Well, it dovetails with her idea that we're going to make government more, what she says she's going to make government more transparent, cut the red tape, make it easier to see things. I did hear some pushback behind the scenes from people connected to lawmakers who are like that they're still a little miffed that she seems to be subtly going after how they've spent in the past. And I think that's going to be the biggest thing as we go through budget season is the tension, not necessarily maybe even about Stay in J, which is what we expected most of the fight to be about, but how lawmakers don't like how this congresswoman has come in and kind of shown them you guys are doing things poorly and having their egos bruised and thinking that she deserves some pushback too. So that's something to watch out for.
Yeah, Matt, I keep hearing that same thing too, is that they're like, who's this lady?
Oh, I'm sorry. I almost fell asleep when we were talking about the portal because I looked at it and I was like, what is this?
Got lost in the portal.
It's just, but like, it's not really, I looked at it. I was like, okay, like it's not really telling us anything we didn't know already. Maybe the public, it's a more friendly way to view it, but I don't know. I'm sorry. What did you ask? I was falling asleep. Like
I fell asleep too. So let's go to Charlie to wake us all up.
Well, the portal, I think, has less to do with transparency and more to do with branding for her. Yeah. This is an opportunity to tell people that I'm on your side and I'm being a watchdog for your interests. I doubt very few people will actually go and look at those numbers. This is more for casting that image.
Meanwhile, as far as image goes, Brent, you wrote Sherrill for president this week?
What's interesting about this is that obviously I'm sure Charlie and Matt heard the same things. Even before she took office, like maybe even during the campaign, I can't exactly remember. There was talk that she'd make a very good vice president is what I heard a lot in the beginning. She'd make a very good vice presidential candidate. And when I am not the one asking those questions and people are voluntarily telling you such things, that's when there's smoke to the fire or fire.
It was hard. I'm sorry, Brent. I don't mean to interrupt, but it was hard right after the election when I had people telling me this. Like, I don't want to write that, but if it's actually happening,
I wrote it though.
It's so stupid. But like,
exactly, you can't. That's what I always tell people is that I don't ask my sources to tell me that that when they volunteer things, that means it's really in the water in Trenton.
Yeah, I want to confess, I wrote about it on inauguration day. Well, because I felt that whole pageant was framing her for a national audience. And, she had up in the balcony over the prime seats in NJPAC overlooking the stage about a dozen of these influencers, these Instagram people with national audiences. Now, I understand that's the new way to get
the future. Yeah.
But they were clearly, in my estimation, I felt they were framing her. And you know what? So what? I mean, my feeling is if she'd be crazy not to at least be part of the conversation. She won a nationally watched election last year. She's got a lot of, resume credentials that would make her marketable. And the field's wide open in 2028, so why not?
Yeah.
So,
when I say it's stupid, I don't mean the idea of Sherrill as a contender is stupid, just to be clear. I just mean that, like, literally when she's coming, it's like and I'm talking about the people pushing it because we have no idea what the situation is going to be like. We have no idea whether if she will have done a good job in New Jersey, would be a viable candidate. I think going forward, looking at like Christie used to say, well, if I do a good job, then I'm in the conversation. That's all I need. Except then he proceeded to spend like most of the next year or 2 years out of the state running for president while
Well,
hatred towards him at home grew.
speaking of Christie, though, I mean, he was in the office for like 20 minutes when they started talking about him running for president. What was that, 2012? I mean,
I mean,
is it
it's
as
also
ludicrous as that was?
it's the nature of the world right now. It's we speculate about everything. We have segmented media and just all these things. And I'll tell you, I wrote that newsletter, and that day after it published, I had two people text me and say like that, that was correct. That's exactly what's going
Yeah.
on. And then the other reaction, I got readers being like, "Can we chill for 1 second and like calm down? She's been in office for a hot second." So that's kind of the dichotomy, the two things. Like it's too soon, but they're thinking about it.
I'm with the readers on this one.
Yeah.
I am too, but I also understand.
Charlie says, I'm with the readers too, having
But-
written about it on
I,
election
not
night.
blaming
I
people
took
for
a
that.
big log and put it on the fire. Okay, I'm guilty.
All right. Well, here's the thing that could derail all of her national ambitions, the World Cup. Matt, when are we going to learn with these things?
I'm sorry, David, my internet was spotty and I didn't catch your question. But as far as like, is the state not benefiting financially from the World Cup?
What?
I mean,
I didn't say that. That wasn't my question.
I'm just guessing that's where it's going.
Yeah.
Look, these things are so mushy that you're never going to get a clear answer. But what is clear is has to spend a ton of money. What's clear is nonprofit. Guys, FIFA is a nonprofit, okay? Total, like they are practically they're curing AIDS in Africa, but I think the idea that this organization is like, can we stop like giving? There are so many giveaway deals when it comes to something about professional sports just turns everybody inside out to appease these, extraordinarily wealthy organizations and teams and
No doubt.
people. And I think Sherrill has tapped into something in New Jersey. It's just like I don't know if it's a majority, but there's certainly a significant number of people who are like, yes, gouge the hell out of them. We don't want to pay for this,
Brent, FIFA has, of course, that very prestigious Peace Award that they award annually. So, but I mean, this is both an opportunity for Sherrill, but it's also a potential for a big pratfall, deserved or not, right?
Yeah, and I wrote about this week because obviously within the state, the people who are supporting her and the people who are taxpayers who don't care about soccer, they're looking this as a win. She's standing up for them. I talked to John Corzine this past week, and he voluntarily started talking about FIFA and goes, "I think she's doing a good job standing up to them." So, but the thing is, if you go on social media, you will see all the soccer fans, the people who are not from New Jersey, are being like, what's going on here? This is terrible.
Yeah.
One soccer influencer called it diabolical. So, but Matt Hale from Seton Hall told me that people from Luxembourg who are coming to the game are not going to vote for her.
Yeah, and not only that, they can afford the $150 ticket, especially
they can
those sultans of
Luxembourg.
Dubai that are going to be flying in on the Concorde too.
Won't someone think of the Prince of Liechtenstein or what? Like
They like table tennis over there, so I don't know if that's really their sport. Anyway,
Charlie, Republicans want to have hearings here in New Jersey, and it's been mentioned more than once that former First Lady Tammy Murphy is the chairperson of this thing. Wouldn't it be great drama to have the First Lady appearing to testify at the FIFA World Cup hearings?
yeah, I would be. It would be a day of theater. I don't know what that's going to yield, but
That's never
there
going to
is-
happen anyway. But
There are questions though about the role of the host committee. For example, could they have done a more aggressive job in raising money to subsidize the transportation costs? I don't know. I mean, I've heard in other cities, Philadelphia, for example, their host committee was pretty aggressive in that and lowering the costs. There are other questions that are looming out there about it, but I don't know what it's going to yield other than some partisan advantage.
Yeah.
And, I think they also see that Sherrill is, reaping a sort of a populist windfall a little bit from this. So why not get on on the bandwagon and grab some for us beleaguered Republicans,
Yeah.
the party that we've
So,
become.
Matt, so we got to thank the Murphys for leaving such a mess so to help Mikie Sherrill burnish her national reputation.
Yeah, this is really, I mean, when people said, Phil Murphy was out of touch, they didn't, and not because he's so wealthy, it's because he's a soccer fan.
Yeah.
It is.
Nobody cares. I mean, not nobody. I'm sorry, I get a lot of angry soccer fans.
There's a lot of
But
soccer moms
it's-
in the 7th district.
yeah, that's
Soccer
true.
brings
Hey,
out
look, I played soccer. I was almost professional. I played from when I was 5 to when I was about 10. And then is the first slide tackle at me, I quit. But I think I could have played professionally, so I know what I'm talking about.
I do feel
Um,
there's nothing more that gets people not from America to think what those dumb Americans are than soccer. Soccer is like the topic that divides dumb Americans from everyone else. Like
I will
feel
say I appreciate like the art of the flop. I think I might have seen it in a video out of Union City that like the troll. I mean, we can all judge. I'm
Johnny
not accusing
Sunshine.
cop of flopping, but I think some soccer players could have, learned some lessons from that video.
You could tell
Now,
that
now the
it's,
guy's charged with a felony.
that's a good one.
all I know is the second ever assignment I ever was handed at the Star Ledger in May 2006 was to cover a Metro Stars game at Giant Stadium, and it was a 0-0 tie, and I had no clue what I was writing about. It was the most
Well,
quotes I ever put in a story because I was like, just let them tell the story. It's like,
first of all, you think that you covered a soccer game,
yeah.
not a football game. And secondly, it wasn't 0-0. It was
was nil.
0-0.
Yes.
There you go.
That's all you need to know about I covered a Mets game for my third game, and I think they lost. So
Well,
and now they're the best
wow.
team in baseball. So
There's a
Is
shocker.
that Zoran Mamdani's fault?
yeah, it was back then when he was like
Apparently, the Mets suck. It's the mayor's fault.
oh, 2 in a row. They've won 2 in a row
It's the
now. So
first time the Mets have sucked.
Yeah. Thanks, Mom Donnie. Meanwhile, Matt, you had a piece this week, I think it was your byline, on the two bids to run the state's public media network. Two different approaches, I hear. What did you learn?
Well, I think there's some interesting things that I didn't know before, but one is that we have basically one may be more attractive to Cheryl because there's almost no price tag. It's like $250,000 to $1 million, and it's going to be run out of Montclair State with mainly existing faculty, with some student internships or work or whatever, and kind of a smaller newsroom with leveraging a lot of the outlets that currently exist in New Jersey. The other one, which is headed by Phil Alongi, formerly of NJTV,
Yep.
is a more robust newsroom, more money from the state, about $9 million, and more independence from the state because it wouldn't be, at a publicly owned university. The newsroom, it sounds like the Alongi one is maybe twice the size of the newsroom. Both would utilize existing media in the state. And I found it interesting. There was one proposal in Longy's one where they would have studios that are accessible to the public, basically. So you could make your own podcast because we need more podcasts. And I'm not sure if I was saying that sarcastically.
You hit the brakes. You pump the brakes on. Keep going.
So two very different proposals. And, if you're Mikie Sherrill, you're looking at it, it's kind of like, well, and we're expecting an answer very soon. Could even be today, probably not by next week, on which one they recommend. But if you're Mikie Sherrill, you're looking at him. The Montclair State one has the obvious advantage of being very cheap.
Yeah.
But then when we're looking at even what Phil Longi's group is asking for, I mean, that's one Mastro. That's what Randy Mastro made, just for the Bridgegate whitewash. So not just him, but in the big scheme of the state budget, that's really not a lot of money.
Yeah, even if it's, say, $10 million, $15 million, which Senators Zwicker and Berzacelli have mentioned as a price tag, in the grand scheme of a $60 billion, it's not a lot.
Oh, yeah. And I just want to point out that those two have put forward ideas. One of the ideas is to somehow attach public funding to the very, very generous film and video tax credits that have made New Jersey the California of the East. Uh, and another proposal, Raj Mukherjee is working on one to increase the hotel tax by, I think, half a point to fund this. Cheryl doesn't want to raise taxes other than temporarily on World Cup stuff. So
Yeah, and no taxes on people.
yeah.
Uh, Charles, are lawmakers, is this part of the conversation at all, or are they waiting to see who the state chooses? Are lawmakers involved in this at all?
I think so. I mean, people like Zwicker and Berzicelli, two Democratic senators I know, are very active in this, and I think they're going to have a big, significant say in what, in uh, maybe shaping this. Although it is, I don't know how much it is their decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be a kind of a turning point, or whatever it comes down. But you have the new proposal, the way that Matt just laid it out, and a guy like Phil, who has a long track record of running, as he said, robust and significant news programming. And question is, do we go on the less expensive way, or do we go with somebody with that's maybe it costs a little more, but has significant experience? I don't know. It's and both relying on outlets. It's going to be a very interesting
Yeah,
decision.
I should say, just in terms of full disclosure, I did work at NJTV when Phil
And
was
Phil was
the
there.
executive producer there.
Yeah.
Brent, the danger of this being a public institution, what's that about? Is it because of their board is appointed by the governor? Montclair, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, the idea is that maybe they could influence coverage in some way. It was one of the things when I went to Rutgers, and the student newspaper actually didn't get any funding from the school, and it was an independent, and that was one of the things that people said the Targum made the Targum interesting, is because that we didn't have professors telling us what to write. I don't know if there would be any of that here, but that's the fear, is that there'd be some sort of influence of coverage.
And I think, of course, NJN was, owned by the state way back. It's funny, it just makes me remember. I used to go on Reporters Roundtable every 2 weeks if we're talking about the era from like 2008 to 2010. And I used to get a little $50 check from the state of New Jersey every time. And
Wow.
personally, yeah,
I
every
wasn't
time I
allowed
got
to
that
take
check,
them.
I was like, oh, I got to say something nice about John Corzine now.
Oh,
Um, Full
wow.
disclosure, I am yeah, but it's I think that NJ I think that did cause some logistical issues at NJ and complications. I don't think it really I'm sure some people would disagree with me, but I don't really think it influenced the coverage of NJ.
Yeah.
No, I
Yeah.
never had that issue. I never saw that issue. And by the way, the budget at NJN was significantly higher. I think it reached up to $30 million near the end.
Oh, yeah. They had 140 full-time employees
Wow.
Right.
at
And they
the
were part of
end.
the CWA. I mean, so they were a significant operation. And I don't recall ever hearing any controversy about them being a mouthpiece for the
Yeah.
administration.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely heard it from some Republicans at the time, but they said that about all media, so it was,
Right. Particularly all public media.
yeah.
Anyway, so you say, Matt, the decision is imminent.
It has to be pretty soon because they're supposed to, based on their timeline, they're supposed to finish negotiating the contract by May 22nd. So
Yeah.
that's, less than a month away at this point. Yeah, I know people are expecting a decision really soon, but there's also the possibility, and they've been talking about a potential extension for NJPBS for a little while they work this out. So maybe there will be some delay, but I think we're going to hear who the preferred bidder is pretty soon. Yeah.
We all three, it's safe to say, support the continuation of public media. Yes?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes. All right. Press corps done for the week. Matt Friedman, Brent Johnson, Charles Stile. Thanks to you. Good to see you all. You can catch Republican Budget Officer Declan O'Scanlan talking about the budget, streaming right now on the Hold That Thought channel. I'm David Cruz. Thanks for streaming, liking, and subscribing. We'll see you next week.